Yo, what is up, YouTube? We got another Ben Hamon video here, and you can tell from the title we are doing a season 1.5 hero tier list. Take a look. All right, we are doing this. We're gonna get into it. I may make some of you mad. Some of y'all might agree with me. It is what it is. I'm just going from my perspective, and I think I'm going to give a little bit of insight that maybe not some everyone thinks about. And then also, some of my ratings aren't based just on the hero alone, but also based on what how that hero fits in the meta. So, currently there's a huge Hela Bucky meta, Psylocke, Star-Lord, those sort of things. So some of these heroes are really good, but they just don't fit in a good team comp in this season. Without taking too much of your time, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content like this. Go ahead and drop a like if you like the video, and go ahead and let me know down in the comments what kind of changes you would have made to your tier list, or what you agree with. All right, let's get into it. So first off, we are going to go through the tanks. I already organized them by tank, DPS, support, or Vanguard, duelist, strategist. So first off, we have Strange. Strange is a little bit weird this season. I think he got knocked down a tier. I don't think he's S tier anymore. First they nerfed his honestly, I forget the name of the abilities quite a bit. But they nerfed his E, where he builds up his magic and then he can release it, and it's kind of like an AoE. First they nerfed that, the distance on that. I don't know. I forget if they nerfed the damage output on that. Then they nerfed his shield. Now they nerfed his health. So he's now down to 600 HP. So I really think that brought him down to A tier. I don't think he's S tier anymore. I don't think he's a must pick, but he's still probably one of the strongest tanks in the game. He just fits into every comp. You can't really go wrong by choosing him. But with his shield and his health down now, it's a lot easier to kill Strange than it was season 0 and season 1, before the season 1.5 update and the latest patch. Next, let's go into Captain America. Captain America, who I thought was going to kind of pop off and be like one of the unsung heroes of the tank world. I'm gonna have to go see. I think he is probably by far the worst tank in the game right now. Dive meta fell off a cliff, and so did Captain America with him. It is what it is. We're just not in a heavy dive comp right now. We're in a heavy poke and brawl comp, and Cap just really isn't getting a lot of value. A lot of people learned how to play around him. Not a lot of people are playing dive as much, so it's a lot harder to get value out of him. So that's why we put Captain America down in C. Groot. Groot's gonna be our first S tier tank. Groot is insanely strong. He absolutely deletes frontline, backline, anything he can touch. His damage output is absolutely insane. He has 800 health or 850 health with his Iron Wall or Iron Curtain, whatever you call it. He can go up to, I think, 1100 HP, which is just insane. I mean, he can literally survive a Wanda ult just by tanking it with his Iron Curtain up. So not much else to say. I mean, his ultimate is strong. His main attack is strong. His walls are strong. I mean, you can't go wrong by picking Groot. So let's go on to the next one. Hulk. Hulk is another one that kind of fell off with the current meta comp. I think Hulk is down in B tier now. Not saying Hulk is bad, but it's hard to play him now. It really is. His bubble nerf really hurt him a lot. And if you dive into a back line, you are getting CC'd like 7 times before you can even think about jumping back. I know, has everyone seen the video where like that team got a 6-man together in quick play, and they tried to get the world's longest CC on somebody, and and this poor Doctor Strange got CC'd like 6 times after he came out of spawn. That's what it feels like playing Hulk. Hulk just, if there's a Bucky on the enemy team, he hooks you, then he uppercuts you, and then he throws his E at you. And every one of those resets your jump. If the enemy team has a Penny, she's resetting your jump, and it's only a 3-second cooldown. So by the time your jump bar is able to jump again, she can CC you again. So, and then all the supports, between Mantis and Luna having a CC, it's really hard to play Hulk. I mean, you jump into that back line, you're deleted, and then not having a front shield, and a pretty big head hitbox, makes them hard in a poke comp, because I mean you're just getting deleted on the front line. So unfortunately, Hulk, he's not a bad tank, but it's hard to get value out of him this season. Thor, Thor is another one that I wish was better. You guys know me. I love Thor. I'm a Thor main, or at least used to be, but I just can't play him that much anymore. Same reason. Poke is super strong this season. Hella, Bucky, even a little bit of Punisher when you see the Punisher team up with Rocket, Psylocke, Star Lord, Namor. You're taking a lot of damage, and if you don't have a Meg or a Strange shielding you, or if you're trying to kind of hit that back line, Thor's suffering quite a bit from that. So you're taking a lot of damage, and your support has to concentrate you quite a bit. So Thor isn't getting as much value as he was, earlier on in the season. But with the current meta shift, Thor's just he's a difficult hero to play, especially once you get higher in the lobbies. All right, Magneto. I think it's a toss up between Groot and Magneto as the best tank in the game right now. Kind of depends. The little bit of damage nerf they did on him really kind of sucked. You can't consistently one shot the squishies in the back anymore. Excuse me, especially the 275 health guys, and above. Like your Lunas and whatnot. It's a little bit harder to get that combo perfectly. You can still do it, but it does take an extra shot. So, but I still think I think I'm just gonna put him barely above Groot. In my opinion, I don't think. I think Magneto just fits into every comp a little bit better. I think Groot can just be a little bit counter, just a little bit easier, especially with Wolverine if he's not banned. But I mean, they nerfed his main shield, which kind of sucks. It's only 1.5 seconds instead of 2 seconds. I don't really think his shield was that overpowered, but the devs did, so they did nerf it, and that's what we have to live with in this season. So this is where we're at, but I still think, I mean, he's the strongest tank. His bubble, I mean, protects him from Wolverine, and protects him from Bucky. He can protect a dive hero. He can protect Cloak and Dagger during her ult. He can protect Wanda during her ult. He can protect Wolverine jumping in to grab a penny if she's nested in somewhere. I mean, his bubble has endless uses, and it really is just, he's all around just a solid tank, does solid damage. He can't really brawl other tanks that well by himself. He'll lose against pretty much any tank in the game, except maybe Captain America as the tickle monster. But other than that, he's losing a 1v1 versus any other tank in the game, which is I think his only downside is he can't brawl other tanks. Not like Strange. Strange has an insane amount of damage output, and he can just absolutely delete other tanks. I've played quite a bit of Strange. I have Lord in Mag and Strange. Not saying Lord makes you good, just means you have a lot of time on them. And the amount of times that I've deleted even a Thor in a 1v1 is Strange, that they just didn't expect it, is insane. Strange puts out a lot of damage. Magneto, not so much. So, you really got to concentrate the squishies with Magneto. All right, the Thing. What do you guys think the thing is? You think he's S, C, D, F? I'm leaning S or A. And I don't know if he's better than Strange or not. I think he's more situational than Strange. But when it is the situation to play thing, I think he's S tier. I don't think he's worse than Strange when it's the right time to play the thing. Um, but because of his situationalness, I'm gonna put him in A. Right, I would say right about equal to Strange, maybe a little bit below. The Strange shut down dive comp this season. I mean, he's probably the main reason why the dive comp meta just fell off a cliff. Is the thing. He interrupts the cooldowns. He does a temporary CC on people. When you hit his shift, I mean, he really shuts down dive pretty well, and he can jump between the front line and the back line like that. I mean, between the enemy team's front line, your front line, or the enemy team's back line, the front line, and then to your back line. He can be in all three places pretty much at once. He's really good, but with the right Bucky and the right Hela or the right Namor, you can get deleted pretty quick, especially if the enemy team or Star-Lord, the enemy team has the revive team up with Mantis, Star-Lord, and Adam Warlock. That Adam Warlock, he can put a lot of damage into you, and without a shield, he does suffer from that. I think that's his only drawback is a heavy poke comp going against. He can get deleted quickly, but if you know how to play him and play him right, I think he'd still be very successful, and I still think he's one of the strongest tanks in the game. He's super good. I think he just suffers a little bit from that poke damage, but I mean, as far as the versatility of being able to play the enemy's back line, the front line, and your own back line, and exceed at all three of those is just insane. Definitely the best off tank in the game, besides maybe one other. And I don't think there's a lot of comps where you can't use him. He's just so good. And that's why you're seeing a lot more of him. You're seeing a lot of Mag and Thing team ups or comps, and they're brawling. They are brawling. They're running through your team, and it can get annoying. So that's why I think the Thing, I want to put him above Strange. I just can't because he can die from that heavy poke. So I think I'm gonna leave him there. All right, Penny. I'm gonna make some people mad with this one. I think Penny is way better than people think, but also way worse than people think. For now, I'm gonna put him top of the B tier. The reason for this, Penny is a high skill floor, high skill ceiling hero. Especially like Diamond, GM, Celestial, Eternity. You can't just like pick Penny and do well with her. Everyone counters Penny. She has the biggest headshot hitbox in the game. She can get, I think, like 3-shotted by like Hela or Adam Warlock or something like that. Like she gets deleted quickly. But as an off tank, you're starting to see some really good Pennies come out and absolutely dominate lobbies. And they're playing as a dive tank. They're not playing as a, protect the back line and just sit on your back line and, pray that the Black Panther and Spider-Man magically runs into one of your mines. That you're not getting value out of Penny that way. Especially the higher elo you go. It is just not working anymore. But as a dive tank in an area denial tank, as an off tank taking off angles, I think I'm going to do a spectating video on the number one Penny. I know a couple other people have already done it, but just to show you how good Penny can actually be. But you got to be skilled. You got to have really good game knowledge. You got to be patient, and it takes a lot of work. It's not something you can just pick up, go in, and dominate a lobby with. Maybe bronze, silver, gold, maybe plat. Obviously penny. A lot of players in those elos have trouble dealing with a penny, but most other players have really learned how to deal with penny. So, um, but yeah, that's why I think she's better than Thorin Hulk, at least in this comp now that we have. Um, I'm willing to bet she will soon become A or S tier once people figure out, or she gets some buffs, which I think she will probably get some buffs. I think the devs are afraid to buff her for that reason, though. I think the reason why she really hasn't gotten a lot of buffs is because it's not going to take much to move her into a very dominant tank position. So I think that's kind of why they're keeping her at there. Um, Similar to some other heroes like Magic, Spider-Man, it's not something you can just jump in on in your first comp game and dominate a lobby. It takes practice. It takes time. You have to learn how to use that character. So I think that's why they're keeping her where she's at, because they learned their lesson from this guy down here, Wolverine, because everyone thought Wolverine was trash, and then they buffed the shit out of him, and now he's a menace to all tanks. Still scares me every time I see him not banned in a lobby. All right, Venom. You guys are going to disagree with me on this. I think he's an easy S tier. I think Venom is one of the strongest tanks in the game. He has one of the highest damage outputs. If you hit your headshots with him, you do your combos, you dive, right click, headshot, a squishy is gone. They're gone. They're instantly deleted. There's nothing they can do about it. They're just dead. Teamed up with Spider-Man, you guys have a pretty good dive comp, good communication going. You're diving the same people. You're not getting heavy countered. That backline's gone. They are deleted every time you dive in, and there is nothing they can do about it. The best off tank in the game by far. He can also frontline in a team fight. You're trying to capture the point. Venom can just sit there and repeatedly swing up, dive in, gets low, hits his E. He's getting pocketed by his healers. His cooldown for his swing is up, and he does it over and over again. And when you're not fighting a point, you just dive with your DPS, and you do coordinated dives, and you're just a menace to the backline. So even though dive comp really isn't the meta this time around, with Venom, it makes dive possible. I don't think dive is possible in Diamond and above without a Venom. If you're not running a Venom, the enemy team is switching to Namor instantly, and they are shutting down that Spider-Man. They're shutting down that Black Panther. They are shutting down that Magic. With Venom, it's a lot harder to do. So that's why I'm putting Venom in S tier, because I think he works in any comp. You don't even need dive DPS to be a menace with Venom because of his insane health pool. He basically has almost 2,000 HP after his shield and his main health. It takes a lot of damage to kill Venom. So even without supporting dive DPS, you can still run him with May. You can run him with Groot. You can run him with Strange. Not really with the Thing, because the Thing can't really frontline all that much. But with these three, Venom will work every time. All right, let's move on to DPS. First up, we have Black Widow. No, she's D. Sorry. Yes, there are a few one-trick ponies out there that are just absolutely slamming with Black Widow. They're getting pocketed by Mantis with constant damage boost. They hit 40,000 headshots in a game. They never miss. They're cracked out of their mind. That's not you. That's not me. That's not 99.99999% of the player base. They can't do that. She's not that good. Honestly, the only character in the game that I think needs a total rework. I just, and I love playing Black Widow. I think I have like 10, 15 hours on her. I think she's fun to play in quick play. That's about it. Um, just not getting a lot of value out of it. All right, Black Panther. I think he's A tier. I think he's really good. I know he had a bug for a while on his dashes. Um, the he wasn't getting hit registration. I don't know if they fixed that or not. That was bringing his value down for quite a bit, but um, you're seeing a lot of Black Panthers that are getting a lot better at the game. They're getting a lot better at Black Panther, and they are just kind of. I mean, they've learned how to delete support in like 0.2 seconds. When I have to flex the support, and every once in a while you go up against that cracked Black Panther, and you're literally dead before you even know what happens. It's pretty annoying. I just, I think he's B though. I don't think he's A tier. I think he is B. Um, he's. I don't think he's that good. A really good Black Panther can destroy you, but he can also get shut down, especially with the thing with his damage reduction, jump, and then his slam. Black Panther's not getting his combo off, so he has to run away. And if he misses Ash, he's not running away. He's probably frantically looking for a wall to climb while the entire back line is concentrating him, and then he gets deleted. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put him in B. Hawkeye. I think he's still B. He's definitely not A or S. I almost want to put him in C, but his ability to still one shot headshot and a cracked player still being able to use him pretty well. I think I'm going to keep him in B. He does get countered pretty easily by our next hero that we're going to go through, or by any dive hero in the game. Actually, you know what? I forgot one thing though. He is no longer the squishy deleter like he was in season 0. In season 0, Hello Hawkeye were dominant and they destroyed every backline in existence, and there was nothing you could do about it. Even running double shield, your shields got deleted, and these guys would just find the hole, and yeah, your backline was gone thanks to a couple headshots from these guys. Um, he's kind of a menace to tanks now. I don't know if you guys have noticed or played against one now, but a good Hawkeye now is deleting tanks. They take a huge chunk out of tanks' health pool. And because all of them have these massive freaking heads, they can do a lot of damage. Over 250 damage. I mean, I think he 3-shots most of the tanks in the game. Besides this guy and this guy. And then Venom, obviously, because he just hits his E. But and it's probably moving too fast for Hawkeye anyway to really hit. But your main tanks, your frontline tanks, these guys, Groot, they all have really big heads. And he's does a lot of damage to the head. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays out this next season. We're right around the corner, like 2 weeks left. It'll be interesting to see how he plays out. Hela, obvious S tier, first S tier DPS. Probably the best hero in the game right now. She 2-shots at any range to squishies. Nobody knows if that's intended. I don't think the devs have said so or not yet. But her fall off damage no longer exists after the latest patch. Kind of insane. Hela is dominating the lobbies. It's very similar to season 0. it's what we're dealing with now. So Hela, you see her banned a lot. When she's not banned, you remember why you normally ban her. Human Torch. I don't think he's that good. I don't. I don't think he's that good. I mean, obviously not on the same tier as Black Widow. He's just not that good. Um, he's slower than the other flyers. There's some cracked ones that have like this insane like melee wave where like their heads like moving all over the place and their body's like doing weird stuff and it throws off the hitbox and they're like really hard to shoot. But like, you're talking like top, 500 players that have, 500 hours on this game already and they're just cracked out of their mind. They've spent the last 8 years playing Overwatch. They're gamers. They're true gamers. But for the most part, I don't see you getting much value out of him, more value out of him than you would say Iron Man or Storm. Um, I mean, it is what it is. He's just, I don't think he's that good. He can do a lot of damage, but his shotgun spread and the slow projectile, um, it makes him difficult to play for most players, and I just don't see a lot of value coming out of it, especially with this meta right here. This guy here, this guy here, this guy here. You're not getting a lot of value out of him. Iron Fist. I think he's B tier, Actually, I don't know. He might be C tier. I know he's better than um the Human Torch, but I don't know if he's quite B tier. They did a percentage based damage or health percentage of health, so like they tried to make him more like tank buster, kind of like Wolverine, and it didn't really work out for him. I know when they first buffed him, like everyone was like just jumping the front line, like jumping all the tanks with him, and then people just realized that um, you can just shoot the idiot in front of his other tanks and he dies. So, or he runs away very quickly. So, I know he's kind of a menace to like lower elo lobbies, but honestly, just team shoot him. That's all you have to do. Like literally, just everyone turn around and shoot this guy. Um, that's it. That's how you counter Iron Fist. He doesn't have a lot of escape. Um, that's all you have to do to counter him. Iron Man. Iron Man got some good buffs. I think he's pretty good. He no longer needs the Gamma team up to be good. He's only like 30 DPS off his Gamma team up with the big laser beam. So he's still doing a lot of damage to the front line, to tanks. I think he's pretty good. I think he's low A or very high B. I think I'm gonna put him there for now. I might move him here in a little bit. Magik. Magik's super good. I think she's probably one of the best dive heroes in the game right now. She's very hard to use. She has a lot of tech, a lot of combos that you have to learn to get a lot of value out of her. But once you learn those combos and you learn those techs, she has like basically like infinite health. She's jumping all over the place. Through your rotations, she's getting her cooldowns are almost never. It feels like they're never on cooldown. She's constantly doing some type of cooldown. So I think she's very strong. She's a really good hero. Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight's down here with Widow or Black Widow. He fell off a cliff. He really did. I think his win rate is like 40% or something right now. Actually, I mean it's bad. He does not have a very high win rate. Unfortunately, it is what it is. He gets countered very easily. Um, doesn't really. Everyone shoots onks now. I mean, it's just his alt doesn't do. It's not instant death anymore. There's a lot of blank spots. They've limited the amount of like fists or moons or whatever comes out of his alt coming down. So like there's like whole sections sometimes of his alt that just receives no damage. So unless you're caught directly in the middle of his alt, you're not dying to it. Um, he's really just not that good this season, unfortunately. Mr. Fantastic. Sorry. He's not good. His recent changes, I forget what they changed, but I remember pretty much every Fantastic player saying that it was a nerf. It was made to look like a buff, but it was a nerf, and you really just don't see him that much anymore. Um, they're getting deleted pretty quickly as soon as his shift ability, his big. Oh, 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 oh. After that's done, he's dead. Everyone just shoots at him. He's not that miniature off tank that everyone thought he was going to be. He just dies. He's not good. Unfortunately, I think he's a super fun character to play. He's super goofy. When he first came out, it was super fun. You're just bouncing up and down in his alt. It was yeah, he's a fun character to play, but unfortunately he's just not good. So hopefully he gets some buffs this season. They put him back to where he was, maybe a little bit better, and we'll start seeing him more often. Namor. Namor is another S tier hero. And why is Namor an S tier hero? He is the anti-dive master. Besides him, I think he's better at it, but not by much. Namor, especially with the Luna team up, always has squids out. The thing with Namor is you only throw 2 squids at a time when you have the Luna team up. You throw your C and your E, or you throw both your E's. And then by the time those guys are gone, you have another E and your C ready, or vice versa. And you're just constantly deleting people as long as you have good squid placement, because you can get value out of him even if you're not going against a dive comp. He still puts out a crap ton of damage. As long as you know how to use your big trident and everything, and how to target certain people, hit your headshots, you're getting a lot of value out of him. All right, I gotta go get some water. Ooh, sorry, I had to get something to drink. You guys ever drink these? They're so good. No sugar, any of that stuff. So, and it's carbonated. I used to drink a lot of soda. Now I drink these or sparkling waters. Good replacement for soda. All right, where were we? All right, Namor S tier. Yet we went over him. Psylocke. I think she's high A. Very good assassin hero. Does a lot of damage. Can one shot squishies. Does a lot of damage to tanks with the right combos. Hard to kill. She's all over the map, kind of like how Tracer was in Overwatch. Just kind of a backline menace, but can also, unlike Tracer, can also frontline. Not really frontline, but she can damage the frontline quite a bit. Very versatile, fits in most comps. Actually, I don't think there's a single comp she doesn't fit in. So, I think that what puts her in high A tier. I don't think she's the best DPS in the game, but she's right below him. Very, very good DPS. All right, Punisher. Seen a lot of Punishers out recently. Punisher kind of disappeared for a while. Didn't really get a lot of value out of him. He's kind of back, and some of the Punishers are really good. And a lot of people don't. I think they underestimate Punisher. He puts out a lot of damage. And people can counter that and say, well, he's just charging alt charge for the enemy team. He can also build his alt extremely quickly. And if you know his alt And if you know, when people play Punisher, they usually have a Rocket on their team. If Rocket damage boosts with his ult while Punisher is ulting, or Punisher is using his unlimited ammo because Rocket gets his ult all the time, he is killing you through any support ult in the game, which is huge, especially with how strong support ults are, how often you're going against triple support. I think I'm gonna go. I think you guys might call me crazy, but I think he's A tier. Um, I think you can get a lot of value. I think he's very situational though. So yeah, I think I'm gonna drop him to high B. I think he's like one buff away from A tier though. He's not far from it. With the right team up though and the right comp, Punisher. I mean, I've pulled Punisher out of my ass a couple times in a few games that I thought were unwinnable, and we just needed a lot more damage output to just put a little bit more pressure on the enemy team so they can just back off. Because you ever get those games where you're just like, the enemy team is just putting out constant DPS and your tanks are being deleted. Your back line refuses to switch off Rocket and Mantis and go to burst healing, and your front line just dies instantly. This guy can put a little bit of pressure on that and make them back off and at least get one of those DPS to back around that corner and give your front line enough space to take it and kind of change the game a little bit. It depends though. It's situational. That's why I think he's staying in B. But I think if he gets buffed, I think he's going to go to A. Spider-Man. Spider-Man, the menace of Reddit. If you've been on Reddit, you've seen the posts, you've seen the cries for help. The devs won't listen. And he's not going away. But honestly, Spider-Man, one of the most banned heroes in Diamond and GM right now. I think he's second or third most banned with over a 30% ban rate. He's kind of a menace, not gonna lie. Celestial and Eternity, if you watch any of those guys play top 500, Necros is like the last one still playing him, and he switches off all the time because he gets countered all the time. I think he's high B for me. He can get countered easily. If he's not countered, he is high A, possibly S. So obviously this tier list, I don't think this tier list is for bronze players, silver players, gold players, plat players. I don't think this really reflects that as much as me diamond GM lobbies. Not saying there's anything wrong with bronze or silver or gold or plat. I think you should be proud of the rank that you're in and always be working to get above that. I'm not the best player in the world. A lot of other YouTubers are Eternity, top 500. I'm just starting out and I'm trying to get better at the game every day. And I'm barely into diamond right now. So, but for what I see, this comp list is for the elo that I play in. I just don't see Spider-Man as the threat that he normally is. Usually someone instantly goes, like, I have a friend that plays Spider-Man all the time. He doesn't like playing on his main and GM because he gets banned all the time. And as soon as, on his ult, he goes Spider-Man, they pull out a Namor. Sometimes he does really well. Sometimes Namor destroys him. So, yeah, so I think I'm going to keep him in high B because he is situational. If you get countered, you basically have to swap off him because you're just going to feed. You're just going to die the whole time. Squirrel Girl. I think She's around here. I don't think she's super good. Actually, she might be A. No, she's not. I'll put her above Iron Man. I don't think she's super good. But I think she is better than a lot of DPS. There's a lot of Squirrel Girls that are really annoying and will shut down tanks like the Thing, Venom, Hulk, the Brawlers, because she will just constantly CC you if there's a Spider-Man on her team. You don't really see it that much because normally Squirrel Girl and Spider-Man are not. You don't see that team comp a lot. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if they are together, she has like 3 CCs she can use in like a 10-second period. She right clicks you, hits you with a couple acorns, hits her E, right clicks you again, hits you with some more acorns, and then hits her C with Spider-Man team up, and you're CC'd again. She's another one of the reasons that Hulk is just not a huge pick, because she's just constantly with her constant CCs. It's she can be very annoying. I think her projectile makes it hard to kill these guys. These two are usually not in her view, and when they are, she's two-shotting her very easily, especially with her only escape being jumped straight up in the air. A good Hela player is hitting those shots every time. So she's hard to play against these guys and these guys as well. But against Punisher, against the Hawkeye, Wolverine, Bucky, Wanda, she can do pretty well. So Star-Lord, part of the Revive Infinite Life. You have to kill 9 people instead of 6 to win a team fight comp. Definitely S tier. Does a lot of damage. Has good mobility. Is all over the map. Super annoying. Probably one of the most annoying players to play against when they're really good. It's got to be S tier. I mean, he's just so good. So we're going to put him up there. I don't think he's quite better than Namor or Hela, but I think he's right next to him. Storm. Very good hero still. Gets countered a lot by Hela, or else she would be an S tier. Storm puts out a crap ton of damage. Gets her ult very fast. When her nerf to her self boosting, like her self damage boost and movement boost, kind of hurt her. Before, you could dodge Hela with your movement boost, your self movement boost. Now it's a lot harder. I've played quite a bit of Storm. Somebody pulls out a Hela, you're getting deleted pretty quickly. If they don't have a Hela, you're pretty good. I don't think Punisher's countering you. I don't think Namor's countering you. Maybe the next guy, but I think Storm, just in the current meta, it's hard to fit her in with Hela. If Hela's banned, I think you can use her. If you have a Thor, by chance, she's really good, but you're not gonna have a Thor a lot, unless you're like Diamond. I still see him a lot, not a lot, but I see him a little bit. In the lower lobbies, I think you see him. On GM and up, you're not really seeing a Thor, so you're not gonna get that team up. Bucky, definitely S tier. I think he's bottom S tier. Definitely not better than these 3. But if any of these guys get banned, which normally they are, especially these 2, Bucky's the fill-in, and he has like no downside. He has 3 CCs. He has a good ult. He gets shielded for like 50 every ability he uses, whether it misses or not. His ult resets on Loki clones. Surprised they don't reset on Namor Squids. No, I'm just kidding. Um, he's, I mean, he's just all around a great character. A lot of people are saying he got overbuffed. At first I disagreed, but I think I agree now. Bucky's kind of a menace. He's dominating a lot of lobbies. Even with this requires a lot of aim. This requires a lot of aim. He doesn't require a lot. He has a very large projectile size and it's very fast moving. So if you're not as mechanically inclined to play Hela or Namor, you can get just as much value out of Bucky. So um, probably going to see a nerf season 2 with him. We'll see. But I think it's probably going to happen, and we'll see where it goes from there. But right now, he's definitely S tier. Definitely in there. Wolverine. I don't think he's S, but I think he is the best A tier DPS in the game. He is terrifying to play against as a tank. He is banned a lot in Diamond and GM, banned less in Celestial and Eternity, but he is absolutely terrifying to play against as a tank. And you basically have to completely change the way you play tank. If you're Mag, you are no longer just running past the front line and shooting their back line, because if Wolverine is in play, he is taking you and you are gone to never see the light of day again until you hit that respawn button. If you are Groot, do not play Groot into Wolverine. It's a bad idea. Just don't do it. You will die every time. The Thing, great counter against Wolverine. Only issue is, though the Thing cannot be moved, he cannot be displaced, he can still be CC'd. And when Wolverine uses his shift, it not only displaces you, but it also stuns you. The stun still happens. So he can still, and he still gets his damage boost, his fast claws, where he goes instead of he can still do a lot of damage to the Thing. Fortunately for the Thing, he has this great thing called the E button. You just hit that and boom, you're flying to another teammate. You have a huge damage reduction and Wolverine's not killing you. So the Thing is awesome to play against Wolverine if you need to. I would say the Thing and Mag. Before the Thing, the only thing to play against Wolverine was Mag. You could not. Nobody wanted to double tank. Cap does pretty well against Wolverine, but you're not getting value out of Cap other than just staying alive by playing him against Wolverine. So before, everyone would just drop to one single tank and it was Magneto. Now you have the Thing, so you can still have two tanks, and Magneto can bubble him or himself if he gets hit by Wolverine. The Thing can jump to him to do damage reduction for both of them, making it a lot harder to play Wolverine. Not impossible. A good Penny player can still die to Wolverine. But she can be very annoying for Wolverine. Just kind of depends on who's the better player, really. A really good Penny can bait a Wolverine into dying. But if Wolverine has his passive available, Meg bubbles him, Wolverine can walk into that spider nest, kidnap her out of it before he dies, and will most likely be fine. May not get the kill on Penny unless his team concentrates Penny. It's very situational, but still, he is a menace to play against as a tank. Completely changes the way your whole team has to play. Support has to be involved with it. If your support is not helping you with a Wolverine, GG, go next. It was a good game. Yeah. Wanda, Scarlet Witch. I think she's C tier. Kind of a menace to Flyers. The Flyers really aren't huge in this season, so A lot of her value's gone that way. I know in lower elo, a lot of bronze, silver, gold, plat players are using her as a counter dive to Spidey, and it's working out for them, which is good. So she'd probably be higher up on the tier list in those lobbies, I think. But where I play, I think Wanda gets countered a lot and doesn't really get a lot of value. Um, but it depends. I mean, there's some, with all heroes, there are one tricks and insane cracked players that can take any hero to one above all. I literally played against a Smurf the other day, or he was on my team the other day, um, and he sent me his Twitter. This guy literally one tricked Black Widow to one above all on one of his accounts. I mean, good players just they can climb anywhere. With any hero. But I just don't see most players getting a lot of value out of Wanda. Spider-Man can pull her out of her invulnerability. She doesn't have a high health pool. She doesn't put out a lot of damage. Um, she's just really hard to in this season, just hard to get value out of it. Um, Maybe her buff for her alt was really nice. She still needs pocketed by a support, a bubble from Mag, or to be in a defensive alt to get her alt off, or else she still dies even with like the 100 overshield she gets or 150 overshield. She's really not that great. So that's why she's they're definitely better than these two, but I don't think she's better than any of these heroes. So, all right, we are moving on to support, the most broken heroes in the game. Right? Right? Or no? Mantis. I think she's A. I don't think she is S tier. Unless you go Adam Warlock. I think this team up, I'm going to put them both here. I think when these two team up with Star-Lord, I think it bumps them up to S tier because that combo is it makes it so the enemy team has to kill you 9 times. They have to get 9 KOs to win a team fight or to do a team wipe. The constant reviving between these guys, and then his ultimate constantly reviving, it's huge. I don't think this team up works in double support. I think you need a triple support. I think you need a main healer like Luna, Cloak, or Invisible Woman for it to work. Because with the current meta of these guys and these guys and these guys, there's a lot of DPS, a lot of damage per second, a lot of burst damage. He only has 2 burst heals every 4 seconds, or 1 burst heal every 4 seconds. So if he uses them both, he's got to wait 4 seconds for the new one to come in. Mantis is heal over time. She does have a 75 burst heal. She only gets 4 of those, or she has to wait or hit headshots. I think that kind of hinders the team up, which I think is good. So it's not overpowered. But I think I don't think you get as much value out of it against comps where you have these heroes without another support. So I'm going to just keep them both there. I think Mantis's alt is very good defensive alt. The shortest of the 4 defensive alts in the game. His revive can be very clutch in a lot of situations. He can also doom your team against a Bucky and get you killed again and again and again. So, fortunately, there are counters to this, which I think is good. It creates balance, but it's also very strong. So, just depends on your team comp. I don't think Warlock is good outside of a triple support. Mantis can run in a double support, but she needs a Luna, a Cloak and Dagger, or an Invisible Woman. You cannot run her with Rocket, Loki, or Jeff, or this guy alone when the other team has high burst damage. I just don't think it's going to work very well. Unless there's a complete team diff. If there's a complete team diff, you can run whatever characters you want. It doesn't matter. But if both teams are pretty evenly matched, you need some burst healing to really be successful in this game. All right, Jeff the Land Shark, the menace, the devil in disguise. He will eat you and spit you out of the map over and over and over. I think he's B. As a main healer, I don't think he's that good. His healing output really isn't bad. But he's very easy to kill when he's doing that. That's the thing with Jeff. Jeff is super easy to kill when he's standing above ground. What makes him hard to kill is his diving ability, and he cannot heal while he's diving underground. Which is why you see so many players playing Flanker Jeff in like Eternity. Well, not so many. But if you look at win rates for heroes, Jeff's win rate is abysmal. It's one of the lowest in the games. But in Eternity, there's some cracked Jeff players that play DPS Jeff, Flanker Jeff, and they are menaces to society. They get target banned all the time, and they are just absolutely dominant. But yeah, I think Jeff is C tier. I think his healing output is really good, but he just dies instantly and gets targeted instantly because of all the hatred for Jeff. A lot of people just want to kill him, and they don't care if they win or lose as long as they kill Jeff for whatever reason. He's I think that's what puts him down here. I think, in like Eternity, you could probably put him in like B or A, and as a DPS player because he's just such a menace and so hard to kill. But as an actual support player, as a healer, at least in my lobbies, I'd rather not see Jeff unless it was some cracked DPS Jeff. That's about it. Loki, S tier. Definitely S tier. Copy any alt in the game. He has good healing output. He has his runes that make you invincible for a couple seconds. You can't go wrong with Loki with a main healer on your team. Loki is extremely good. His alt, I think, is the fastest building alt in the game. Insane. Definitely S tier support. Luna, another S tier support by far. Definitely easy. I think she's the best support in the game. She may be the best hero in the game, period. Just like Season 0, I think she is really good. She can freeze. She does a lot of headshot damage. Her clap is really good. She really doesn't have any downsides. Dive, her defense is her other support, and her freeze. And if there's more than one diver, this guy can jump back now. She's her ult is the best in the game. 12 seconds of not dying, unless the other team really concentrates you or has an alt combo. These two together is obnoxious. It's 24 seconds of not dying. Nobody dies. Nobody does anything on the map. Really annoying. Cloak and Dagger. I think her alt nerf dropped her a tier. I think she's A tier now. Still very good. Still a great choice. Works in most comps. Probably one of the better supports in lower elos against divers like Spider-Man. Because she can go to Cloak and do her fade and then drop down into her own bubble. Put the wall on Spider-Man, make him blind, do increased damage to him. She has a lot of defense against divers on her own, because in lower elos, supports really don't heal each other, even though that should be the number one person you heal is your other support, but that's for another video. These guys are, I think the Cloak and Dagger is a really good pick. I think her alt nerf, where it doesn't stack anymore, is the only thing that brings her down from S to A. And Magneto, LeBron Jamesing her like I do all the time, even out of the air, makes it a little bit difficult. But the enemy team Magnetos have been bubbling her a lot, so it just kind of depends. I think if they buff her alt again, it'll go back to S tier. Invisible Woman, definitely S tier. I think she's the second best support in the game. Very good. I think her one downside is her self-healing. You really kind of depend on your other teammate to self-heal, especially since your only self-healing ability is somebody near you and you can put the contact lens on them, or you go invisible. And to go invisible, you have to have your double jump available, or you have to not take fire for 5 seconds. And with how much random fire goes on in this game, it's hard to stay invisible. So I think that's her only downside. Her alt, extremely strong, works with flyers, works with your ground guys. It's just a super strong defensive alt. And her healing output is super strong. Her contact lens blocks a lot of damage. My friend Courtney mains Invisible Woman, and I think she has as much damage blocked as I do almost every game as Invisible Woman, and I play tanks. So a good Invisible Woman just can absolutely dominate and do really well. All right. The most controversial hero ever, I think. Rocket the Raccoon. Some people will put him here. Some will put him here. And everything in the middle. I'm not actually putting him here. I think Rocket can be good. I think Rocket can be bad. I think, like every other hero in the game, I think he is comp dependent. In this comp here, Mag, Groot, Hela, Star-Lord, or Bucky, I don't think Rocket's the play. Unless you're triple support. But against this top row, how much burst damage these guys do, unless you are absolutely team diffing the shit out of the enemy team, he is not keeping you alive. Absolutely zero burst damage. Unlike Mantis, who has at least 75 burst damage, he has 0. It starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's how his healing works. It just heals 1 per, 0.01 second or whatever. It's just it's 0 burst healing at all. Against a high burst comp, he does not keep you alive. And I think a lot of Rocket players and Rocket defenders think he can just work in any comp, and they're wrong. Support are not immune to swapping. Just like tanks are not immune to swapping, DPS are not immune to swapping. If your front line, if your Magneto and your Groot are dying in 0.2 seconds every time they have to make a move or try and make space, he is not working. Swap off. If you have a Punisher on your team and you guys are not going against a high burst comp, say you're going against a dive comp, I think he's very good. And if you have a Punisher, I don't think he gives as much value to Bucky, but with Bucky, he can delete tanks with the infinite ammo. But I think Punisher is pretty much unplayable without Rocket. I wouldn't say unplayable, but very hard to get value out of him without Rocket. Bucky, you can get value no matter what. His value comes from his hooks and his insane cooldowns. So if you have a Punisher on your team, and say the enemy team, is a dive comp like Psylocke, Spidey, or Psylocke Magic, I think Rocket is a good choice. He can stay alive. He can heal you. He can heal your flanker DPS on your team very easily. He has long range healing. I think he has a lot of good things about him. He can do a crap ton of damage. He can delete tanks. He is a Groot destroyer. He destroys Groot walls. He destroys Groot. I think he has a lot of good things about him. But I think if you're playing against a high burst comp, he doesn't work. I think that's why he's in B. I would put him in A if he had a little bit of burst healing. If he had any burst healing at all, even if it was like 50 per orb, I think he would be extremely good. His ult, combine it with Thor's ult, combine it with Mag's ult, combine it with Hela's ult, Star-Lord's ult, Bucky's ult, Storm's ult, combine it with any offensive ult, that ult is insane. It is getting so much more value than it was. His ult is not bad. But if you're dying to a lot of ults, his ult is not saving you, and it's not getting value. So I think Rocket is the best in a triple support comp. I don't think he's very good outside of that. I think he could be in a different meta, or he could be with even 25 burst. I mean, I don't know. I think he needs some burst healing. But I think this is where he sits right now. So this is my tier list. As you can see, I think there's a lot more really good heroes in this game than there are bad heroes. Not a lot of bad. I mean, honestly, I think these heroes C and below are just the ones that are not great or bad and really don't fit. I think anything B to S can work. These guys are harder to make work, but they can work in a lot of comps. I think these guys pretty much work in any comp together, and will, obviously some caveats here, but I think S and A tier is basically the main heroes that you see playing in once you get to like Diamond, GM, Celestial. Those are the heroes you start to see. The heroes in B tier and below are the ones that you see less of. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, I know this is probably a little bit of a longer one, but I appreciate you watching to this point. Go ahead and drop a like for me. Let me know down in the comments what changes you would have made, or if you would have kept it the same. Please don't rage at me. This is just my opinion. I'm wrong all the time. But, this is my opinion and what I think the hero tier list is. So let me know down in the comments what you guys thought. And go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you guys. We'll catch you in the next one.